Moviesucktastic is a podcast about bad movies and the people that love them. But it's more than just a podcast, it's also an online presence. If you want to know more about Moviesucktastic or want to become a part of Moviesucktastic, you can find us on Facebook, you can find us on Twitter at Moviesucktastic, you can find our blog at boothreviews.blogspot.com, or if you want to give your own reviews that we might use on the show, you can go to reviews.moviesucktastic.com and check out our own little lunch.com community for Moviesucktastic. Check us out and become a part of the show, because the only thing more fun than a bad movie is sharing it.
What happened was true. The most bizarre and brutal series of crimes in America. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Even if one of them survives, what will be left? The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. After you stop screaming, you'll start talking about it. Rated R.
The Texas Chainsaw Massacre opens today at theaters and drive-ins everywhere.
You're listening to Moviesucktastic.
Dude, no! Oh!
Yeah, we're live.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah, we are. We are live. We are here.
Yes, we are. What is that? Anyway, hello, yes.
Hello.
Distracted. Welcome to Moviesucktastic. We're actually streaming like a day early, so anybody who normally tries to catch us on Thursday nights will be sorely upset.
Surprise, motherfucker.
That's right.
Fucking dokes. Surprise, motherfucker.
Best ringtone ever.
I love it.
We are still...
You ever see the YouTube video or the video they have where he's just on all different things? And it's just, surprise, motherfucker.
Surprise, motherfucker. Yeah.
I love when he's on the Wheel of Fortune and the words spell out surprise, motherfucker.
So yeah, we're back. We are still... I'm sorry, what?
Nothing. I just cleared my throat.
Yeah, this is episode number 305.
5.
What?
305.
305 of Moviesucktastic.
That's right.
We are currently taking our trip through the 70s, and we are now on 1974, where we've been for a couple of films now, and we are recording this review of the of the film that Joey challenged to me, Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
From 1974.
1974, yes.
Yeah.
Joey challenged this to me at the end of our last episode, which was cut short when I lost power to my house.
It's good to see that you have power again.
Oh, yes. Yeah, it came back like 2 hours later. So, I'm glad we didn't win. Yeah. No idea why. The whole block was out.
Jesus Christ, 2 hours
But
later.
everything's fine.
Sucks.
Could have been worse.
It could have been worse.
And so we had to cut our review of It's Alive, which I was enjoying. Getting into it.
Yeah. But to be fair, we were heading towards the end of that episode.
We were near it, yeah.
But we weren't done. That's the thing. We probably had another 20, 30 minutes in us if we really wanted.
Oh yeah. But But we cut it short, and I phoned in the end of the show, and now we're doing Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which some of you might have heard of.
Might have heard of that one.
Yeah.
No, it conforms to our new format, and I feel like we need to explain it briefly in every episode for a little while. But
after you.
So the new format has us delving into. We picked a beginning year, which is Scott's birth year of 1973, and what the new format is, we will challenge each other films from those years until one of us feels that that year has been exhausted. So, for instance, Scott challenged me in 1973, then I challenged him in 73, and then he challenged me one more in 1973, and then I felt we needed to move to 1974, and I challenged him a new film from that year.
The person who is in charge of challenging the film has the option to switch the year.
Right. So, for instance, tonight, I challenged Scott to Texas Chainsaw Massacre from 1974. If Scott feels we still belong in 1974, he will challenge me to another film from that year. If he feels we've exhausted it, we will go to 1975.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So I don't know what Scott's going to do tonight. Are we staying in 1974, or are we moving on?
We will find out.
Yes, we will.
So, Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yes. First thing, right off the bat, not a true story. In case anyone is confused about that.
Loosely inspired by Ed Gein. Who was also inspired Psycho and practically every other serial killer
of the Lambs. I mean, it goes on and on and on and on and on. Correct. So Ed Gein, if anyone doesn't know about that guy, you should go buy a book because it's pretty messed up. I think he's only ever been credited with one murder, but because he was so demented, grave robbing and de-skinning and using that to make lampshades and furniture and all kinds of really absolutely insane shit, he is one of the most famous serial killers ever.
My favorite fact about him is that he would dance in the moonlight dressed in a dress made of his mother's skin, with a belt made out of vaginas.
It's
a risky accessory, but he felt he could pull it off. and that aspect of the cross-dressing also comes into play a bit with Leatherface.
And in future films too.
More so in future films. They go a little heavy on it in like Chainsaw 3.
3D? Was it Chainsaw 3D?
Yeah.
Or was it just the third one?
No, well, they went a little heavy on it in 3, and also the reboot. I think they kind of.
That's the one from 1990.
I can't even.
I want to say that one came out in 90, and I also want to say that there was an uncut version, kind of like the Jason Part 7, The New Blood.
Mm-hmm.
Like you had always said that there's like some unseen, crazy uncut version that's never been released. And I want to say that the third Texas Chainsaw is something like that too.
Not third one. No? It's the Next Generation.
I'm thinking of Next Generation. Oh, that's right. There is a European cut of that that's like 7 minutes longer.
Right, and that's the one that's the one out of all the series that really played up on the transvestite part. They all kind of have it, but in that one, like he's applying lipstick, and they tried to push the envelope with it.
I showed that during a bad movie day.
Oh yeah,
an outdoor bad movie day. I remember everyone. I mean, I gave everyone food and alcohol, so they knew what they were getting into.
Yes. It's Texas Chainsaw is one of the most iconic American horror films. Definitely one of the major ones of the 70s, and Leatherface himself, to this day, due to the occasional reboot, remake, sequel, which are all fucked up as far as continuity goes, is still been kept alive by the culture.
Oh, absolutely.
Up to and including the last film, which was kind of like a prequel / reboot called Leatherface,
which I still haven't seen yet.
I didn't think it was bad. It's not bad. Okay. It's definitely worth seeing.
All right. I do want to check it out. I've had it for a long time. I think it came out like 3 years ago.
Yeah, it's got its flaws, but it's nowhere near as shitty as Next Generation.
Well, yeah. So I did a little homework on this. I mean, as I usually will do some sort of homework, but this one was actually quite easy to do homework for because it's been around so long and it's so iconic. You literally trip over facts.
This film has been
so
covered
easy
to death. Yeah,
completely. So the fact that it was made for $140,000, which even with inflation, in today's inflation, would only be $700,000. This movie was made for next to nothing.
And it shows.
Well, I will say this, though. It's got some really beautiful shots. Just really beautiful panning shots. Just even like there's a sunset scene where it's becoming dusk. I mean, just like really, they remastered this on Blu-ray gorgeously. I mean, the colors are, for a film that was muted forever when it came out theatrically, DVD, Laserdisc, VHS, it was a very muted copy. And to see it actually be as clear as it is, it kind of reminded me of Street Trash. Like how good that looked when it was remastered.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, don't even get me started on that. Fucking beautiful.
So yeah, it was made for $140,000, $700,000 in today's money.
Right.
And it made $30 million, which is around $150 million in today's money. No matter how you cut it, and a bona fide smash. I mean, like, it made a shit ton of money for an R-rated film in 1974.
Oh, yeah.
And Tobe Hooper had a really hard time getting this distributed. So, and he actually even went so far as to make such heavy cuts to try and get a PG rating. He still ended up with an R rating. So, you know, he didn't cut it back because he was getting the R rating anyway. But I can't even imagine how you could even attempt to get a PG rating on this.
Well, and it's not even it's the tone of the film. It's like Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer. It's not like the gore or anything. There's not really that much in it.
As a matter of fact, I think it's been argued that this film has almost no blood in it. Exactly.
I mean, there's minimum of blood, no real gore per se.
No?
Now you mentioned like the cinematography. I mean, there are some great shots in the film. Most specifically, the shot of the low-down shot behind the hippie girl in the short shorts walking towards the house.
Oh yeah, I got a picture of that in the slideshow.
And that's been copied in every single Texas Chainsaw film since.
You have to.
Yeah, either directly or like some kind of homage, but like it's been done every single one. There are iconic, and even the Leatherface slamming the door, which pops up again in the Saw franchise.
Well, let me tell you something. Not to give that away, but yes, it does.
Oh, sorry.
No. I mean, we're not saying when it happens, so it's not really spoiling anything. But that is probably my single most favorite scene. Well, yeah, I would say that's my single most favorite scene in the whole film is when he slams that door. Just the transition of the door slamming, the music, or whatever you want to even call it. It's not even real music, but like the transition of sound when he slams the door with that deep, almost bassy, but also very high on the treble. Just when he slams it, it is so perfect. I can't help but love that. Yeah, and that's another scene. I mean, I think the most iconic scenes that everybody knows, it's like the shower sequence in Psycho. This film has like at that level of status, or that status level, whatever you want to fucking say, where there are iconic shots that'll just always be known. Leatherface dancing with the chainsaw at the end. Yep. The whole sequence with the hammer and the door. Oh, right. Those two alone. The hook, again, like the hook and like the walking towards the house, those are kind of secondary. But I think like those two scenes, those two shots that I just mentioned, are kind of like
just like are frozen in time. They're always going to be there. They're always going to be copied. They're always going to be referenced.
You know,
Someone didn't turn their phone off.
it's not that. Mara and the kids are they're at the beach. They rented a hotel, a hotel suite for 4 days, and I told her, I'm recording tonight. And what does she do? She calls me at 8:20. Come on. Been doing this for 10 years. We go on at 8.
That's right. Well, now I go on at 7.
Well, here we go. Let's read this text message. Yeah, I didn't think you were recording yet.
And also, when you mentioned it last week when you challenged me this, one of the aspects of this movie now is that I am actually in Texas.
Well, we had talked, when you had moved to Texas, we had talked about challenging more Texas-based films because of you moving out there.
And that never happened.
Well, this is the beginning of that.
This is one of the ones, finally.
She's going to tell me that my kids want to talk to me. All right, this is what we'll do. They're going to be up till like 9:30 anyway. So
all right.
After the show, I'll just call them.
Okay.
All right. Anyway, so when I saw, because my favorite website as far as films go is a site called The Numbers. You just type in any year that you want, and you just see everything released theatrically in that year. And when I was going through it to try and find a challenge for you, because I was like, should we stay in 74? Let me see if I find anything. And I saw Texas Chainsaw. I was like, shit, A, 1974. It's a challenge. B, we can start, even as small as it is, with the Texas films. And C, it's always been revered as one of the best horror films ever made, and I haven't seen it in forever. I think it's a good challenge so that we can actually look at that and see if it still kind of holds up.
Yeah, and like no one really needs an introduction to the movie. Everybody knows what it's about. A group of hippies in a van pick up a hitchhiker who immediately disfigures himself and starts a fire. They run into a couple of the creepy characters.
He doesn't get paid for his picture.
Yeah,
and he's like, "Oh, you don't want to pay me?" Then he sets it on fire.
Which is not proper etiquette for
no, especially in an enclosed vehicle with no windows open.
And like even their stop at the gas station.
Oh yeah.
Is been copied in so many films and homaged in so many films. Even like recently, Cabin in the Woods and Tucker and Dale versus Evil. There's just 2 examples of the whole we're on a trip, let's stop at the creepy gas station.
Did they do that in what was it? Cabin Fever? Did they do that in Cabin Fever? They stopped at a store. It wasn't a gas station.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, it kind of, and again, I would be hard pressed to say that Texas Chainsaw was the first one to do it, but
maybe not.
Possibly not, but it's definitely the first one. It's like one of the first iconic ones where this is what you remember.
Absolutely.
I mean, you actually have a similar scene in The Hills Have Eyes.
Oh right, yeah.
Yeah. So, and what year did The Hills Have Eyes come out?
I want to say that came out
77.
75. Okay, I was going to say 75.
77. So, yeah, even that wasn't the first.
You never know. We might be reviewing that when we hit that year, because we've never reviewed the original Hills Have Eyes.
If we haven't, then we're definitely going to.
Yeah, we've talked about the remake
several
times, about how it scared my wife, and it made me turn it off.
The original scared her. Now, the question is, does Texas Chainsaw hold up? And that's another thing that reasons some of these films survive so long. Like Night of the still holds up, even though it was made so many years ago. partly because of even though it had a low budget and it's not exactly the most skillfully shot film, but it has iconic elements that everyone remembers, and the story is engaging.
Oh yeah.
Even if flawed. Texas Chainsaw has all those hallmarks, and it was just like Night of the Living Dead. It was kind of the first to do what it did, at least to the extent that it did it.
Right. No, and that's true. That's was this film? It wasn't like Night of the Living Dead, where it was. I always forget what the term. I always want to say open source because I'm a computer guy, but it's
public domain.
Public domain. Thank you very much. This wasn't a public domain film.
No. Toby Hooper made sure to renew his.
I mean, it's been released. Oh God, so many times.
Yeah, I'm not sure when. I forget when the copyright laws changed, so it was harder for films to go to lapse into public domain.
Right.
But at a certain point, it would happen if the owner didn't renew their copyright after a certain amount of time. But so apparently they did not.
Yeah, that's how you get gems like Child Bride.
Oh yeah.
So I told Scott that I would pull my DVD out from like forever ago. This was released in 2004. This is the, see if you can see that without the glare, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre DVD. It's got the chainsaw flip book style, and it's got the teeth on it, which is real nice. And on the back, it's got like hamburger meat. And it says, fresh after 30 years, released by Pioneer, Tobe Hooper Film Special Edition. And I have no idea if this is worth anything, but the back of the DVD, it's actually like the ground meat is all textured. And this is like one of God knows how many special editions that came out for this. Because back in the DVD days, I think Sam Raimi made it famous. Like, he'd release Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2, like, it seemed like there was a release every 6 months.
Oh yeah, there's Evil Dead, Evil Dead 2, and Army of Darkness. There's like 30 different copies
Special
combined.
edition. What was it? The Boomstick edition. I mean, just
I have about
so many.
I have about a dozen myself. I'm a sucker.
I don't have that many. I think I have 4 or 5, but and the one that's I think still worth money is the one that they made only 30,000 copies of Evil Dead 2 Special Edition, and that's the one with the Conan-esque cover where he's got his arms in the air like that. It doesn't even look, it's not even Bruce Campbell, it's just some guy with his arms in the air like he's Conan. You know which one I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So at last I checked, which was years ago, that was selling for about $200 on eBay. Because they only made 30 or 40,000 copies of that. It's a numbered edition. I have no idea if it's still worth anything nowadays. Like DVDs and Blu-rays these days aren't worth jack fucking shit. It's amazing how they're not worth anything anymore. I have a wall of like 500 DVDs. I'll actually see if I can show them. There it is. And you can see that it's the whole wall just full of DVDs. 500 or so. And they're not worth jack. I maybe be able to get $200 for all that in a like 500 DVD lot. Like, just get rid of them all at the same time. I've seen that go for about $150 to $200. Which, what is that, like 30 cents a DVD?
Yeah, roughly.
What a fucking joke. I did the math on how much that cost me to actually attain. That's like a down payment on a nice car. That's how much that cost. Makes me sad.
Sad.
Well, you know what? Who the fuck knew that there wasn't going to be anything better than DVD? Like, for real.
Yeah.
Who knew? As soon as Blu-rays came out, that's actually when I stopped collecting. I only grab things that I have to have on Blu-ray now.
Yeah, I very rarely buy
That's
any
all
kind
I do
of physical
now.
media at this point.
That's all I do. If I have to have it, I'll buy it. Other than that, everything is digital now. And I have all my stuff backed up to the cloud. So if I lose it, I don't lose it. It just takes me a while to get it back because they capped that shit. So anyway, back to Texas Chainsaw. So Tobe Hooper, was this the first thing he ever did? Other than maybe like a short film?
I think so. Yeah, I believe this is his first film.
Here, let's see.
No, he did. He did other short stuff.
He did one film. He did a couple of a documentary short and a short. So as far as feature films, this is not his first. There's a movie called Eggshells that he did. It's an hour and 29 minutes from 1969. Experimental allegory story about a group of hippie students in Austin, Texas who move into an old big house in the woods. However, something else is there and it's influencing them. So I guess it's another thriller horror.
And the fact that no one ever talks about this earlier hippies in danger in the woods movie that he made kind of says something.
Oh yeah.
I like the idea. There's like, let's do the same movie, but instead of aliens, let's just make it cannibalistic rednecks. Works for me.
I have a feeling we're going to be doing a bunch of Tobe Hooper films as we go through the years.
Yeah.
I mean, like, what do we got here? We got Eaten Alive in 1976, Salem Lot TV movie, although that doesn't count for our challenges. It's a TV movie. It's not theatrical. The Dark, but he was replaced by John Cardos. Mm-hmm. I guess that was the beginning of the end of that. The Funhouse in 1981. Poltergeist, which we did review. We did the original and the remake, and we talked about how Steven Spielberg probably directed that film, not Tobe Hooper.
Definitely.
It's got Spielberg written all over it. If you want to hear that episode, go to our website or go to iTunes and find it. I think that's in the... It's before 200, but it's after 100. It's in that range. But yeah, Spielberg totally directed Poltergeist. There's no doubt in my fucking mind.
Yeah.
Life Force, which I have the uncut European version of that.
It's the only way to watch it.
Yeah. I mean, when that came out in 85, that was just edited for American audiences. And when I saw that I could get a European cut, it's like 20 or 30 minutes longer. Oh my God.
I mean, really, while some of the films he did do have their good parts.
Right.
I don't know why I can't find a fucking word for that. And if we agree that Poltergeist doesn't count because it most likely wasn't actually directed by him.
Yeah.
Which I think you and I are both in agreement on.
Oh, absolutely.
Ignoring that one exception, Texas Chainsaw is probably his high point.
The best thing he ever did? Yeah.
I mean,
I've always been a sucker for Invaders from Mars. I don't know why. No. I don't know why I like that so much. I guess maybe it's because it was a kid. I saw it when I was 10 years old.
Life Force. I got a soft spot for Life Force. I even like Texas Chainsaw Massacre too. You know.
I like.
What can I say?
Too. I do.
But you gotta. He's just like Wes Craven. A little less Wes Craven. A little more these other guys where their whole career is based on like their one triumph, and then the rest of their career is.
Oh, you mean like George Lucas?
Yeah, exactly. They're not. They don't go on to make other great things. They go on to make other things based on the fact that they made this one great thing, and they do okay.
Yeah, there's a handful of directors like that.
Yeah. I'm like, again, I'm not shit-talking Wes Craven. I'm not even shit-talking Tobe Hooper. But it's not like he went on to like revolutionize horror. He made one thing that just happened to become an iconic horror film, and then that just pretty much set his career for him.
You know who's actually doing that right now? You could probably guess.
Who?
Jordan Peele of all people. He's not reinventing it, but he is doing something where even if he goes back and homages and is doing a style that you've seen before, it feels fresh.
I just think I think he's got more to offer.
Yeah.
I don't think he's an example of like Toby Hooper or Wes Craven. I think he's actually going to keep doing interesting stuff.
Well, that's what I'm getting at. It's like I'm saying he's the polar opposite of them. He's actually doing things, and he's kind of not reinventing the genre of thriller and horror, but what he's bringing to the table is so good that he will be remembered for not just making one great film, but probably 5, 6, 10. Who knows?
Yeah. I thought you were comparing him to like Toby Hooper and Wes Craven.
I was actually doing the opposite. So
fair enough. I love cannibalism. I'm a
got
big
some
fan.
good barbecue here. I bet you do.
Oh, and what's his face in Texas Chainsaw? That guy.
Oh,
chef.
Is that guy still alive? You're just a chef.
Oh, I don't think so.
I have a picture of him in the slideshow of a reunion. Yeah, he's old. Like his name is Jid Cito, and he's just referenced as he died in 2003.
Yeah, he's old man in this, and in part 2 he's like the chef.
Yeah,
he's just fucking great.
Yeah, I take no pleasure in killing. And then the next side of him is like, but you can do it. I'll watch. Maybe I won't, but I probably will.
Even the Hitchhiker's performance, and then Gunnar Hansen, who, again, this film made him a household name.
Oh, yeah.
Even people that are kind of like half into horror, have their toe in the waters.
They know
who Gunnar Hansen is. Oh, yeah. That's like Kane Hodder. You know who Gunnar Hansen is. You know who Kane Hodder is.
Yeah. They just like Robert Englund, you know who he is.
Exactly.
Freddy. It's just like they're iconic. When they're out of the makeup, you still know who they are. And I mean, and the fact that they have the horror conventions and whatnot, and they would actually show up and sign autographs. It just kept that going.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Gunnar Hansen, I think he's still alive, right?
I believe so. Yeah. No. Yeah. He just did like a film like a couple years ago, I think.
Oh no, he died 4 years ago.
No. Well, I'm thinking of the film.
Kane Hodder is still alive.
Maybe that's who I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
All right.
He did a film called Death House. Wait a minute. Died in 2015, but did a film. He's credited in a film called Death House that came out in 2017. So either it was stock footage, or he made that movie and it just couldn't get distribution until 2 years ago.
Or they dragged him around like Weekend at Bernie's. It's possible.
You stupid shit.
And honestly, this horror film, probably more than any other horror film, is responsible for thrusting cannibalism into mainstream horror.
Oh yeah.
Just like I'm
sure there was some in the 50s and 60s, but never as open and as
there's
famous and iconic as this one.
Yeah, I mean, like this one like made it trendy.
Mm-hmm.
You could say, just like Night of the Living Dead made zombies trendy, or Nightmare on Elm Street made dream sequences.
Elm Street trendy.
Elm Street, as I said.
Yeah. No,
yeah.
I was just talking about the actual street, Elm Street.
Oh yeah.
I mean, think about it. When that film came out, Elm Street was just a normal street. And then when that movie came out, it's like, and you lived on Elm Street, and you're like, oh, man. Mm-hmm. This street was, in the beginning, it was just named after a tree. Now, all I think is horror movies.
And really, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, one film, spawned 7 other sequels / remakes / whatever you want to call them. And, like, just Texas, if you talk about Texas, chainsaws are going to come up.
Always does. Do you own a chainsaw? Did your house come with one?
I do. I do. It's an electric Ryobi chainsaw, but I do own a chainsaw.
Look at you.
Yeah.
What are you chopping up?
You don't want to know.
Hey, kind of want to know now.
I'll send you some pictures.
Oh, don't do that.
Yeah.
Not that I don't have the stomach for it. Don't want to be implicated in anything.
And we're covering these films that were around when we were I was 1 and you weren't even born yet.
I wasn't even born yet.
So like these are films that we saw. By the time we saw them, we knew about them.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
like this specifically. When I first saw Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I had already heard about it. I'd already been told it's the scariest film ever. Blah blah blah. And even with all that hype leading up to it, like when you first finally see it, there's still something about it that maintains that, and that's I think it's one of the reasons. It's not just even though I talk about it like it's a fluke, there's still a rawness, but also a passion to it that shines through. Again, the performances of these actors just can not surpassed. Although I still get the biggest kick I got when I first saw it was that John Larroquette did the voiceover at the beginning.
Yeah, I've known about that for years.
All
the way back to like the Night Court days.
Well, when I first watched this, like I think Night Court was on TV.
Oh, was it?
And I was like, oh, John Larroquette, I know who that is.
Now, is John Larroquette from the Texas area? Because Tobe Hooper, everyone that's in this movie, he was able to get in the Texas area. Now, because it's a voiceover, maybe they were able to do it, after it was filmed and being distributed. But I want to say that I read that everybody was in the Texas area because he had no money.
He was born in New Orleans, so he was close enough to Texas.
Well, being born somewhere doesn't mean that you didn't grow up somewhere else.
All right, I know that, but I'm just telling you.
I'm just saying.
He was born in New Orleans, so that puts him in the vicinity. I don't know what he was doing that actual year.
Wow, there is no bio on him at all.
On who?
John Larroquette on IMDb.
Yeah.
I think there's nothing here. It's like, Jesus, just want to know a little bit about John Larroquette. I've always liked him.
Oh, no, yeah.
I liked him on Night Court because he was a really good asshole.
His brief foray into mainstream films did not take, and I feel bad for that. I mean, what were his two big films where he was like the lead actor? Second Sight and Madhouse.
That's right. And then he had that TV show after Night Court, and I remember the TV spot where it said, 30 million people watched on opening night, and then I think it was canceled after the first season.
I was gone. Yeah, that's where he ran a bus station.
What happened?
He was a former alcoholic that ran a bus station.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And don't forget also he was the bad guy in Blind Date.
Oh, that's
I mean, those are the main things I remember him from that time period, the 80s and 90s. But yeah, he just did his foray into film just didn't take off, and then he kind of hovered in made-for-TV stuff after that.
Yeah,
I always liked him. Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah.
But
doesn't say anything about him growing up in Texas at all. So.
What else can you say about Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
I mean, there's really nothing else. I mean, it's a short film too. It's 83 minutes.
They kill a handicapped guy in his wheelchair.
Yeah, Leatherface don't fuck around, man.
No.
He's like, I don't give a fuck if you can't roll your shit out of here.
And you know what? That's probably the worst thing he does in this film, I would say, just on that level. But that is like the one thing you never hear anybody talk about. It's like, oh yeah, he takes a chainsaw to this guy in a wheelchair. Probably because they also made that character the most annoying, obnoxious character. If anybody that watches that film, by the time he gets it, you're glad. You're like, you're.
Yeah.
Please, Leatherface.
Yeah, his name. What was his name in the film? It was Franklin.
Yeah.
And the thing with Franklin is his performance is actually not bad. Like as far as how he was delivering his lines and whatnot.
Oh no, he was supposed to be like that.
No, I know, but
this
isn't right.
Like Blair Witch, where like she, they didn't realize that she was going to be a complete, bitch,
mega bitch.
Until they did test screenings, like, yeah, half the audience hates her. What's going on? This is our lead actor.
Yeah, but he was very annoying. He played the helpless invalid to a T in the film, like to the point of where he can't wheel himself somewhere, and he's like screaming someone's, I guess his sister's name, Sally, or someone to come and help wheel him. And it gets to the point of where he just does it so often.
Would somebody kill this cripple, please?
Yeah.
Yeah, it gets that bad. And he makes a cameo in Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 as well.
Oh, he does? I don't even remember that.
Yeah, because Dennis Hopper stumbles upon his like skeleton in the wheelchair, and it's like he's actually like a cousin of his that went missing way back, or nephew, I think nephew.
His nephew.
Yeah.
Well, the whole thing about them going to that abandoned property was that it belonged to Franklin and Sally's father. They kept saying it's their daddy's property, and
I think they were trying to get to their daddy's property.
No, I thought the abandoned house that they end up in was the house that they would spend summers in and whatnot. Because Sally, she mentions at one part where she says, "Oh, this is the room that I used to sleep in."
Oh, okay.
When they're walking through it.
All right.
So, and then before they go find the house, they go to the gas station, and the one guy, the guy at the gas station, the chef, he's like, you don't want to go on other people's property. They're going to let you know about how they don't like that. And Franklin's like, oh, it's our daddy's property. He goes, oh, it's your daddy's property. And then he's just like, I go barbecue here. So that's how the whole scene transitioned. And then they end up at the house, and then Franklin was talking about going there, like when they were on their way, and then there's a swimming hole.
I remember that.
Yeah. And then when they get there, they're all asking about it. He goes, oh, yeah, there used to be a trail between two sheds. And he says it like 2 or 3 times. Mm-hmm. So, they were definitely on the property that used to belong to their father. But they never show that swimming hole. Because there wasn't one, and they didn't have a budget to make one.
Yeah.
So, and then I guess they couldn't find the swimming hole, and they go to the house where Leatherface is staying to ask for gasoline because there's a generator running.
Right.
And they figure, oh, they got gas. We can get gas from them. Maybe we can trade something. I'll come back and give him money. Like he was going to use his guitar as collateral or something. And, he bites it first.
That's the iconic door slam.
Yep, sequence. He bites it first.
Yeah.
Leatherface drags him in, slams the door, and that's really how the film gets started.
Uh-huh.
More than anything, more than the creepy dude in the van cutting his hand and burning the picture. When that door slams, the movie has begun.
And there are long, slow sequences to this film. It's not action-packed.
No, but it keeps it interesting the whole time.
Yeah, it's a good example of how you actually do like a slow burn or a suspenseful film.
Yeah, it's all about the pacing.
Yeah, not like the other shit that what's his fucking face does.
Ty.
You know what I'm talking about.
Ty
West.
Ty West.
Yeah, fuck him.
I knew exactly who you were talking about.
Yeah, you know what I was talking about. Yeah.
Of course I did.
Yeah, that's like, oh, I know how to do this. Yeah, no, you don't. Stop it.
But yeah, I mean, other than that, I mean, it's a film from 1974. It's a horror film. It's 83 minutes long. There isn't much to it. They go back to the house where
there isn't much to it, but there's so much there.
There is a lot there, but it's simple how it presents itself and how it paces itself. It is simplistic, but it does have those complex layers.
Yeah, I mean,
which is nice.
A shitty little no budget horror film shot in the middle of exploitation 70s.
Yeah, oh yeah.
With no real if you want to no real artistic merit on the surface. I would say like it's not like a film that tried to be anything other than what it was.
Right. And
this film is currently rated 7.5 on IMDb.
Yeah, it is. That's yeah.
What the fuck's that about? Yeah, I mean, like it really shouldn't have that high of a rating.
No,
based on just on the surface. But
and the thing is, it's because it's so iconic.
And on
IMDb, so I have for my Plex, I have the Rotten Tomatoes. That's what I have. I have the Rotten Tomatoes score meter and all that for all my films.
Me too. Mm-hmm.
So it's 81% reviewer score. And I believe and it's also like 80 or 81% for the audience score as well.
Right. So, now, the one thing I'll say is, that's skewed because every horror fan has to show their chops and give it a 10.
Yeah.
Every splatterpunk out is go, 10, best film ever made. So,
well, I mean, the movie.
Calm down a bit.
You remember the movie Summer School?
Yeah.
Yeah. What was his name? His name was Chainsaw.
It was Chainsaw.
It was Chainsaw. His real name was, what was his real name? Was it Terrence?
It's been a long time since I watched Summer School. I really can't tell you.
Francis.
That's it.
Francis.
Okay.
And he's like, the best film ever made, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And then I think at some point in the film, he either wins a bet or he's allowed to pick anything he wants. And he says, class movie, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and they all watch it. And he would come into the room like with his eye hanging out of his face, screaming like on the first day of summer school, and it just turned out to be bubble gum. But
and he would be on IMDb giving it 10 stars.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, it's going to be a bit weighted, that whole average.
Sit down, Francis.
Yeah. So now, what would you reasonably rate this film?
Texas Chainsaw 7.5 is really high. I mean,
it's.
I don't think I could ever go lower than a 6, but I don't think I'd go higher than a 7.
It's one of those things where just like where Tobe Hooper, like people's like, oh yeah, he's like one of the great horror filmmakers of all time. Go back over his record. I don't know about that. It's like he achieved something. You can't take that away from him.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it's perfection just as much as he tapped into something that maybe he shouldn't have. Some would argue.
I don't know. I mean, this film it's over 40 years old. It stands the test of time. I mean, they've made how many more of these, and none of them are actually better than this?
Yeah, 7. And
none of them are better than the original film.
No. But I mean, like, if you had never heard of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and this was not a famous film, and you just saw it at like 2 a.m. on cable, what would you think? I mean, I would still enjoy it.
Yeah.
But would I start running around saying this was the best film ever made?
No, definitely not.
No, it's just trying to be a little fair here.
I wouldn't say, hey, Scott, you got to see this fucking thing.
Oh yeah,
I wouldn't say anything like that.
Dude, they killed the cripple kid.
It's absolutely well above average. So a 6, I think that's the starting point.
Yeah, I feel guilty giving it a 6, though.
Me too. I think 6 is too low, but 7's too high, and we can't do a 6.5. And that's kind of cheating anyway.
Yeah,
give it a 7.
7, yeah, I know.
Give it a 7.
I just don't want to be. You know what I'm saying? You just don't want to be that knee jerk. Oh, it's great, you know.
No, 7 is it's very above average. Which, you know what, it kind of is. I mean, just that opening shot, just the opening shots of the film where the camera is taking pictures of corpses, and just the sound that the camera makes alone, is it. I don't think I've ever seen anything like that.
Well, you have, because they copied it over and over again.
Well, no. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about back in the like early 70s. You know,
I understand. Yeah.
It might not have been the first to do it, but it probably was. It grabs you from the second it's getting those pictures taken, and then it pans out to the 2 corpses, you know, on the statue, and it just right there. I think it deserves the 7.
Yeah,
more than the 6.
Yeah, I agree with you. Gave it a 7.
All right, so Scott, do you have a challenge for me?
I do.
So, are we staying in 1974 or are we moving on?
We're staying in 74.
Oh boy!
And I picked a film for you that has nothing in common with Texas Chainsaw Massacre. There is no link you could possibly. I don't even know if you could do a 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon with this. This is really, really out of the field. We're not even in the same sport.
Now, a few episodes ago, when I thought, when you said we were staying in 74, and I was guessing a bunch of different films.
Yeah.
Is it any of those that I have already guessed from 74?
I don't believe so. I will give you 3 guesses. Because we both been looking for challenges, so we know what films are out there.
I think I can only go the 3 challenges I already went, because it's the only 3 I remember.
Well, all right. Well, without looking.
Okay, I'm not looking. I just remember from when I guessed 2-3 episodes ago.
Give me 3 guesses, and I don't think you're going to get it.
Earthquake.
No.
Airport.
Close. Also close, but no. That's not airport. It's Airport 74. I think it's the one where they go underwater.
Yeah, but that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Day of the Dolphin.
Day of the Dolphin. No.
No, and no.
No.
And I can't think of anything else from 74. Oh, I mean, I only know what I researched when I was challenging you and a couple of episodes before.
I will give you 1 hint.
1 hint. Okay.
1 hint. Sean Connery.
Wait a minute. Sean Connery. Wait, is that the space one?
Zardoz.
Oh, God. Yeah.
Zardoz.
Yeah, no, we should absolutely still be in 1974.
Yeah, we should. And I've never actually seen the movie.
I've never seen it either.
And I believe I have a nice 1080p copy of it.
I don't have anything of it. I have to actually go get it now.
It's available.
I bet it is.
That's
the famous one where he's like in like a red outfit where it's like really like V'd up on the crotch area.
The V, and there's like a giant floating stone head.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Yeah, we're watching Zardoz. It's good. We're gonna be begging. We're gonna be begging for Soylent Green. Definitely.
All right, Zardoz.
Start working on your Sean Connery impression now.
Yeah. I'm always honing that. Yes, Miss Penny.
I am the last Sean Connery.
I am the last Sean Connery. Anyway. All right, I guess we should go ahead and end the show then.
Yes, we should.
All right, let's go ahead and do that. Oh, God, thank you as always for joining us. Episode 305 of Moviesucktastic, where we review the 1974 cult classic, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Please go to our website at Moviesucktastic.com. You can listen to the show, download the show, or tune in live every week with us and watch us review a film, and you can hang out. You can go to iTunes, and you can download or listen to the show there as well. You can go to our Facebook page at facebook.com/Moviesucktastic. Everything we put on there, from trailers to movie news to when we go live, goes on the Facebook page. You can go to our Tumblr page at moviesucktastic.tumblr.com. You can leave us voicemail at 908-514-4470. If you leave us voicemail, we will play it. I am apologizing to Gino one more time because I didn't play his voicemail from like a month ago, and I said I'd play it last week. I forgot I had it. It's not ready. It's just still sitting there. So, Gino, sorry. I promise I'll get to it next week. If you want to leave us email, the address is themovieguys@moviesucktastic.com. And you can download the Android app for your phone or device or whatever you're using Android-wise for Moviesucktastic. Everything I said is in there. It's excellent. It's free. You should have it. And that about does it. Do you have any words of wisdom, Mr. Wilson?
That's the last goddamn hitchhiker I ever pick up.
All right, everybody. We will talk to you next week when we review Zardoz.
Zardoz.
God help us all. All right, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye. My family's always been in meat.